The following is a production of Stevenson Media.
And what is going on, everyone? And welcome to another special edition of the Twin Toros podcast. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calvillo, the man next to me, the president of Houston Sports, Nick Stevenson. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of the new year on ESPN 97.5. Nick, how you doing? I missed you. However, we've been dropping content. We haven't stopped. We've been dropping it on my channel, man.
Tell
But
them
hey,
about it. Tell them
glad to
about
be
it.
back on ESPN.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to the 713 squad. We haven't come up with a name for them yet, but me and you got to put our heads together,
Gotta
man,
figure it out.
because those dudes swarm for you, and the female and the ladies too, man. So shout out to them. Happy New Year. Shout out to ESPN. I'm feeling good, man. Finally, the air got a little bit colder, bro.
Okay.
It
You're a
feels
fan
like
of the code? I like it. I like me too.
it feels like playoff football, baby.
Mm.
Finally, regular
Mm.
season's done, over. We talk about all the time, man, how the Houston Texans, it didn't matter what their regular season record was. If they didn't win 2 playoff games, we would consider this season a failure. So here we go with the first step. You're at the crib. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. You know who your opponent is now. Let's get it going, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers with Coach Hardball and Justin Herbert on the way. It is at 3:30 on Saturday. No surprise there. That has been the spot for the Houston Texans since they've gotten into the postseason all the way back when TJ Yates as the starting quarterback. It's kind of like a routine. It's kind of like a running joke, Nick, that the Houston Texans would start off wild card weekend at 3:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah. It's man, it's been what we've been doing, bro. It's like we said, up to this point, the Houston Texans have been who we've always expected them
Just
to
not
be.
viewed as,
Yeah.
as contenders.
Yeah,
Right.
they're good. They'll get the playoff game at home. More times than
They'll
not,
win the
they'll win it.
division.
Yeah, more times than not, they'll win that playoff game at home. They have lost a couple, but more times than not, they'll win that. And then everybody's expecting the same old thing. They're going to get crushed in the divisional round. But once again, like I said, the Houston Texans have this opportunity to do something that they've never done before. And we were talking about it before the show started. They got a little bit of added motivation. Hopefully that's not something that they needed. But hey, whatever it takes, man, let's get this dub against, I still call them the San Diego Chargers, bro. Nobody in LA gives a crap about the Chargers, bro. I lived there for 8 years. They don't even really care about football all that much. San Diego rode for that team as hard as they possibly could. It's a shame they're not still there. But I still call them the San Diego Chargers because FLA, bro.
Yeah, man, all those all those fans, you could call them bandwagoners if you
For
want
sure.
to. And I agree, there is some extra motivation. You heard Rex Ryan say that the Chargers basically have a bye week against the Houston Texans. You also saw the Los Angeles Chargers themselves post that meme of stepping forward in the game chair, signifying, I want to play the city of Houston. That might have confused the old timers, but us new gen people, we know exactly what that meant. They won Houston, Nick, and history has shown us when someone says we won Houston, it doesn't work out for them. And you are giving this team just all the bulletin board material that they need because your excitement should already be at an all-time high.
For
You
sure.
woke up today with a game this week, and 15 other teams couldn't have said the same thing.
For sure.
Like you said, you have an opportunity to do something that you've never done before, and that is get to an AFC championship, get to, dare I say, a Super Bowl. And here's the thing, I don't want to hear any negativity from Houston Texans fans this week
Yeah.
because we are already getting it, from the national media.
Yeah.
And this is the playoffs. This is the postseason. I don't want to hear anything. Oh, I don't think the Houston Texans are going to win this game. And you call yourself a so-called Houston Texans fan. Look, that's fine and dandy during the regular season.
Yeah.
Critique them all they want. Once you get into the dance, once you have an opportunity to put a ring on your finger, touch football immortality,
For sure.
we need everyone locked in. And if you're not locked in, then don't even tune into the game on Saturday. And I mean that 100%.
And turn this
All the
video off while you're at it.
man, all yeah, turn this video off while you're at it. Because now is not the time when you do have an opportunity to get to, man, like I said, an AFC championship, a Lombardi trophy. I don't want to hear anything negativity from Houston Texans fan, because what are we doing here? They're in the playoffs, really. Regular season, I understand. But
No,
they're
man,
in
here's
the
the deal, bro.
playoffs. We
Everybody's
got to
0-0.
be bought in, because it's not like baseball. It's not like hockey. It's not like basketball that have 7-game series. And normally the best team wins in those 7-game series. It is win or go home.
For
And
sure.
we've seen it many times before. Upsets. We saw the New York Giants twice start off in the wild card, go on a run, Super Bowl champions.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, it can happen.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have the defense to do it. You're just praying to God that your offense, with the offensive rookie of the year and a finalist for assistant coach of the year last year, Bobby Slowick, could somehow get it together. And if this offense does, Nick, if this offense showed us what they did in the first series against the Tennessee Titans, it is going to be a fun game on Saturday, man. No negativity this week, boys. I'm not even going to entertain it.
My boy Rube is fired up. He's
Dude,
fired up. Hey, and as you should be.
20
Man,
plus years I've been called a loser. I've been called a pretender. I don't want to hear that from my brother in arms. I already know that.
yeah,
I already know that there's not a lot of confidence with this Houston Texans team. But God damn it, you woke up today with playoff football ahead of you.
yeah.
And if you were not 100% ready to go, if you were not swarming with a special work ethic and relentless mindset, then what are you doing? I do not want you as a fan next to me at all. Get away from me.
I feel you, Rube. And here's the deal, man. Like, everybody's 0-0 to start the postseason, right? And even when you look at these two teams on paper, they both have really strong defenses. Total defense, actually, the Texans are ahead of the Chargers slightly. Now, we know that the Chargers have the number one scoring defense. That's the reason that Rex Ryan, and let me address Rex Ryan really quick, man. Listen, nobody really takes Rex Ryan seriously. Even ESPN doesn't take him seriously. He is on ESPN because he is a cartoon character. He's entertaining. He's an old head, so he kind of says some wilding out stuff every now and again. And listen, if Rex Ryan would have said, you know what, the Houston Texans offense struggled in the regular season, and the Chargers have the number one scoring defense, that's why I think the Chargers will win this game, then we're all okay with that. But to say it's a bye week, that's disrespectful, bro. Like, that is the ultimate disrespect. And even coming from somebody who technically is not really even an analyst, I don't really know what his job is other than to say goofy stuff on TV. I mean, with all due respect to him, like, this dude was a very good defensive coach. I'll give him that. But that's just disrespect, man. If he was the head coach of a team that somebody said that about, he would definitely stick that up on the bulletin board and use it as motivation for his team. But yeah, like you were saying, man, they have a chance to do they have a chance to do something that they haven't done before. The regular season's out the window, man. You know who else had the number one scoring defense? Nobody thought the Texans would beat the Cleveland Browns last season. And you dropped 45 on them. So, like you said, it is one game. And that's what they got to do, is take it one game at a time. And I hope they have the motivation to get this thing done. Like I said, on paper, I think that matchup is fairly even. Even though the Texans are not favored at the moment, I think there's a -3.
Yeah. 3-point dogs.
3-point dog going into the game. And listen, we all understand why.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're fans, but we get it. Like, we what have we been talking about this entire season is the Texans' lack of offense. Let me ask you a question. When you watched them versus the Titans, man, did you see anything that made you feel encouraged or maybe even a little bit more confident?
Yeah, you saw this offensive line have one of its best performances all year.
Mhm.
And for anyone who says, oh, well, the Tennessee Titans weren't playing their starters. Yes, they were. Harold Landry was out there. Jeffrey Simmons was out there. Tavondre Sweat was out there. normally what we see is this Houston Texan interior offensive line collapse, and
Mhm.
it did not happen against a pretty good Tennessee Titans
Yeah,
front
let's
court.
keep it real.
That
The
gave
Titans
you
defense is decent. Like
that
that's
gave
not their
you,
problem.
some confidence right there. Pass protection. CJ Stroud wasn't touched. Neither was Davis Mills, besides that one sack, and that was on Blake Fisher.
Yeah,
Both these quarterbacks were able to find success, were able to find time back there to operate. Both the running backs were able to find lanes and make things happen. Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, 180, I'm sorry, 176 yards, one tutty. Wow. Welcome
yeah,
back, rookie Damian Pierce. Now, I don't expect that going forward, but shout out to him for having a breakout game against Tennessee.
yeah, for
What
sure.
you wanted to see from the Houston Texan offense, you got exactly that. And that is wiping away the bad taste from the Baltimore Ravens. You saw it from your starting offense. You saw it in only one drive. You also saw them overcome a false start. I'm sorry, a delay of game. And normally, whenever anything wrong happens to this Houston Texan offense, it shuts down the drive. Once that delay of game happened, I know we were all saying in our hearts deep down, here comes a field goal. But no, they put up 7. CJ Stroud to Nico Collins, and both Nico Collins and Joe Mixon get 1,000 yards on the year. Dude, they gambled, right?
Right.
We were talking about, do you even throw the starters out there? You were saying no. I was saying you have to, based on how bad they got beat by the Baltimore Ravens. And the gamble worked for D'Amico Ryans. There, dude. And I said any type of positive could go a long way for this offense.
Yeah.
And dude, what more could you take from that first drive? CJ Stroud was 6 of 6. He
Mhm.
hit Joe Mixon, he hit Dalton Schultz, and he hit Nico Collins. And it's like, okay, can you do this every game?
Right.
And if you can, then we're talking about something. We're talking about you potentially, upsetting some teams, because we have not been worried about the defense at all this year. It has been the Houston Texan offense that we have talked about from week 1 to week 18 to now at the start of the postseason. If this Houston Texan offense shows up, they have an opportunity to beat anyone in front of them. Will that happen? History has shown us no. But like we said, it is the postseason. It means a lot more.
Yeah.
Football immortality is right there in front of you guys. Can CJ Stroud put the Superman cape on? I I don't know. I would love to see it, but it would not surprise me one bit if this Houston Texans team stole a couple of games this postseason at all.
Yeah. No, I don't think it would surprise me. Well, I can't maybe surprise. Here's the deal. Of everything that you just said, what impressed me the most last week is that this offensive line was able to protect not just for CJ, but for Davis Mills,
Mhm.
who was basically a statue. And I got to give Davis Mills credit, man. He stood in that pocket tall and he made a couple of
Game
really good
manager.
throws. And he wasn't scared of the he trusted the offensive line and they came through for him. That's what I would say about that. And yeah, the regular season, throw that out the window. Everybody's 0-0, like I said before. You're at the crib. The I guarantee you that the Houston Texans are not thinking about what happened in the regular season
No.
anymore. So we got to stop thinking about what happened in the regular season. Take it a
Yeah.
game at a time. Enjoy the fact that you're watching playoff football. Barbecue, get you some cold beer. Maybe set a bonfire. Might be cold this weekend. Who knows? Listen,
It
man.
is going to be, I think, 30 to
Yeah,
51
yeah,
today.
yeah. Set you a fire outside. Have a good time. Enjoy the fact that the Houston Texans, who not that long ago were the laughing stock of the NFL, will be playing in the postseason again. And win, lose, or draw, we'll deal with that whenever it happens, man. But if you can't get hyped up for playoff football in January, then what are you even doing here? Come on now.
Yeah, man. Like, you forget, just not too long ago, we were praying for times like this.
For sure.
Back to back 10-win seasons. The first time that has happened since 2018, 2019. We've seen already a number of coaches being fired. The
Hmm.
Houston Texans got it right with D'Amico Ryans. He is the guy that is changing this franchise for the better, and the future is only bright. And now, man, dude, screw the regular season. You
Yeah.
talk about an opportunity for Bobby Slowick
Yeah.
to prove himself not only to the Houston Texans, but also to other teams that want to interview him, that he is a bright offensive mind. He already got interviews, requests from the New York Jets. I mean, they're
I was
requesting
just about to,
everyone,
yeah, I was
but
just about to ask you about that.
just think about what could happen if Bobby Slowick is successful, because of we see an offensive line blocking, creating lanes for our running back. We see the full potential of the offense. We're gonna want to bring Bobby Slowick back. And here's the thing: Mike McDaniels, he's not leaving. Brian Dabo, he's not leaving. Kyle
Mhm.
Shanahan, it's not leaving either. I was surprised by how thin the list was out there, even though some guys did get fired, like Gerard Mayo.
Yeah.
But dude, this is an opportunity for you to take it, man.
Yeah, man. And here's my thing. I know that we've been down on Bobby Slowick all season, but if the offense makes a good run in the postseason, would you rather go into next season with a now a little bit more seasoned Bobby Slowick with 2 seasons and 2 playoffs under his belt, or start over brand new with somebody who's never called plays in the NFL again?
I mean, if those are the
Those two
two
choices.
choices, I'll go Bobby, bringing him back. If it's an experienced play caller that becomes free, then maybe we could have that conversation.
Yeah.
Like if it was between Mike McDaniels and Bobby Slowick, I'm taking
Oh, I
Mike
know where you
McDaniels.
stand on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, same thing with Brian Dabo, right? I would
Yeah.
take Brian Dabo, over a Bobby Slowick, but
My dark horse, Gary Kubiak.
yeah, I mean, hey, maybe we get a Clint, right? A Clint would excite me,
Come
but
on, man. How poetic would it be if Gary came back and won a Super Bowl for the Texans
that's
as
if
an
he wants
offensive
to,
coordinator?
man. He got a couple rings. He got some rings as a
I know, but he hasn't won
OC.
one in Houston. That's where he wants to win it. I'm speaking this shit into existence, bro.
Speak it, brother. Speak it. No,
All I know is this. Um, everybody who has been wanting Slowick to lose his job, if the Texans play well offensively in the playoffs, win, lose, or draw, he's gonna be back. So we're gonna have to deal with that. He might be back.
well, his contract's
Who
up,
knows?
so as soon as the final whistle is done,
Mhm.
Bobby
He
Slowick's a
becomes a
free
free agent.
agent.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you gonna start immediately looking for his replacement? Because you might have to, right? Those videos are gonna be fun. And here's the thing:
He's not ready to be a head coach, bro.
I mean, he had, I think, three second interviews or three final interviews last year.
Hey man, these are people who know a lot more about ball than we do. So
Hey,
maybe
and
they see
teams are
something we don't.
desperate for a head coach, man.
Yeah.
Like
True.
teams are desperate. So who knows what they do? But this is just an opportunity, for mistakes to be erased. And I'm just excited that we're here. I definitely thought there was going to be a lot of excitement going into the playoffs, but man, it's here, dude.
It's
And
the playoffs, bro. How do you not get excited,
that's what I'm
man?
saying, right?
It's
Andre
like,
Johnson, he said, it feels good playing football in January.
hell yeah.
And it absolutely does. I think this matchup with the Chargers, I think we match up well. I think the
Yeah.
team that has the better defensive line that day is
Mhm.
going to win the football game. John Crumpler brought up that, we're kind of the same offensively. We are going to run the football, whether it's successful or not, in
Mhm.
terms of, I think, stuff rate. Both these teams are in the top 5.
Yeah.
So it is going to be imperative for this Houston Texans defensive line. Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter, they should have some fire for this postseason. They weren't chosen to the Pro Bowl. They were snubbed.
Yeah.
You also are called a bye week, and the meme from the Chargers. Like, this defensive
I get
line
it, man.
might win you the game on Saturday.
I hope so. Don't sleep on this secondary either, man. Look, we know what this defense can do. We know what this defense can do. We're looking at the offensive side of the ball. Can you guys please show up in this
That's
game
it. That's
and
all we're
show out, man?
asking.
Because we know what the defense is capable of. I wanted to ask you, Deontay Johnson had a couple of nice plays against the Titans. Are you looking at him to do anything in the playoffs?
I mean, of course, I would want him to be heavily involved. And here's the thing: you look at those two missed opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
If both of those are a better ball by the quarterback, those are huge plays.
Yeah.
One of them, the go route, I think was just inches away from his hands. And
Yeah.
then the second one in the red zone, he wins the route. No
Mm-hmm.
question, he wins the route. Ball was thrown behind him.
Yeah.
Davis Mills acknowledged that,
Yeah.
told him my bad. If he completes one of those two, we're talking about Deontay Johnson having a good debut. Hey,
Yeah.
he had a nice first down. I think it was 3rd and long. Just routes the cornerback, has him sliding out there. Deontay Johnson's a very good route runner, man. And
Yeah.
just more time with CJ Stroud. Maybe we get to see him in some
Yeah.
action against Los Angeles. You brought up the secondary. The wide receiver weapons outside of Ladd McConkey, they don't really scare you.
Mm-mm.
So the question is, do you have Derek Stingley travel with Ladd the entire game? Do you keep Kamari on Quentin Johnson? Quentin Johnson, as we know, inconsistent when it comes to catching the football.
Yeah.
It's just going to come down to, like you mentioned, it's the same thing we've been talking about all year. Is the offense going to give you enough?
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned about is who's going to be playing that nickel corner role now that Petrie and Ward are gone.
Is
You know,
Ward gone for the year?
huh?
Is Jimmy Ward going to be out?
I believe so. They said he was done for the season. We're not going to have Jimmy Ward or Petrie.
Oh, I think that's yeah.
So that's the only thing that concerns me, because we've seen Bryant play that role.
He didn't do too bad.
They've put Akuda in that role a couple of times. That's the only thing that concerns me. And usually, here's the thing: Petrie and Jimmy Ward. Once Ward moved down to that Petrie spot, they were mostly playing, essentially linebacker anyway. Very few times you would see them in coverage, but that's the only thing that would worry me in this game. But like you said, it's all going to be about that D line getting to the quarterback, collapsing the pocket, and making it difficult for them to, make their throws on time. But I think, like I said, man, in the playoffs, it truly is any given Sunday.
Mm.
You've made it to the playoffs. You've proven you are at minimum a good football team. There's no not good football teams who are going to be playing this weekend. Everybody is a good football team. It's about who's going to be better on that day. And that's really what the playoffs is all about, man. That's how a 9-7 team can go all the way to the Super Bowl and win it, because it's a brand new season. Whoever is better on that day will win. And that's the great thing about one and done playoff games, man. Like you said, in a series, usually the best team is going to win a 7-game series. But when it's a playoff elimination style, one game, anything can happen, man. So if you're a Houston Texans fan, don't get down on whatever happened in the regular season. Don't get down on the statistics and listen to what the national media said. They don't even watch this football team as much as you do. So forget what they're saying. You know what they're doing? They're going on PFF. They're going on Google and they're looking up stats, and that's what they're basing what they see on. We've seen this football team. We know what they're capable of. We've seen this defense be dominant. We've seen the offense at times show flashes that it can be dominant. Now, you got a whole lot of things going against you, minus Tank Dell, minus Stephon Diggs. We understand that. But once again, one game at a time. You can beat the the Los Angeles Chargers. You can beat them at home. Get out there and do it, man.
Give me a score prediction.
Ooh. All right. I'm glad you asked that, because I got a question after you give your score prediction. Give me 21-17.
I was going to go 24-17 Texans.
24-17. Okay. I got 21-17. Let me ask you, you going to bet on it, Mr. Bet US?
Of course.
Okay.
I can't wait to put some money on it. I'm not gonna put some bread down, man.
Are you gonna bet for the Texans? Or are you hedging your bet here?
Of course, I will never bet against my team. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for being a part of this episode on January the 7th, our first episode back.
32 episodes
ESPN.
in, Ruben.
Yeah, man. Lonnie Johnson episode. Shout out to Lonnie Johnson. Shout out to
that one.
Shout out to Tyrann Mathieu. Shout out to Tyrann
sure.
Mathieu, right? We'll take that 32. Dude, do you remember when we got Tyrann? Oh my God.
I was mad they didn't bring him back the next season.
I don't think he wanted to come back.
You don't think so?
No.
Nobody liked O'Brien.
And then
bro.
Justin Reed left right after.
Yeah. And nobody liked O'Brien, bro. That was the problem. I don't know if you saw Charles Omenihu's interview on, I can't remember what podcast he was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was basically like, F the Houston Texans organization. Like, he's got a bad taste in his mouth. There's a lot of players who do, man. So, once again, we talked about it at the beginning of this season. The good thing I think the Texans have going for them, even after this season, I think this has become a place where people want to play. Because of the McNairs and the culture change that they've made, because of CJ Stroud, because of D'Amico Ryans. I don't think the Houston Texans' reputation moving forward, regardless of what happens in these playoffs, is going to be diminished by any means. I think the future is still bright, man. We've talked about so many times how D'Amico got a 6-game I'm sorry, a 6-year contract for a reason.
Mhm.
They are trying to change the culture. And in 2 seasons, they've won back-to-back 10-game seasons, back-to-back AFC South champions. I know it's going to hurt if they lose in the playoffs, guys, but the arrow's pointing up, and you guys have to believe that for
Hey,
sure.
man, I'm ready to be delusional again. I'm ready to be heartbroken
What I'm
again.
talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. You guys have a very blessed day.